Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Witches and Wine. I am your hostess with the mostest, Lola Stardust. And this is this is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine. Clink and drink. Clink and drink to our crippled gnome over there. We got
Can't reach.
But they can do it. They can do an energy clink and drink.
Energy clink.
We have our gnome Willow with us in our audience. She's crippled, so she's sitting in the recliner. She can't lean in, but she's here. Say hi.
Hi.
She's here. All right. So before we start our episode, Silenus is going to explain the wine we're drinking tonight. So let me.
So.
We have special, not so special.
When we say we cover all wines on Witches and Wine, we mean we cover all wines. We're going for the budget style drinker of the box wine. Tonight we're going with a big sipper. It's a red blend out of California. Very much a fruit forward wine. Got a lot of cherry, a lot of plum. On the sweeter end, a 5-liter box runs you between $11 and $15 based on where you're at.
But we get a discount because he works there, so we can get it cheaper.
But this
And
is what,
sometimes they have it on sale too.
Yeah.
But the reason why you have this wine around is this is the wine we switched to after we've had other wines and the taste buds aren't necessarily up to par and we don't want to drink. We want to keep on drinking, but we don't want to drink our better bottles.
That's our dog in the background doing her thing.
Yeah. So I highly recommend this if you're looking for a nice economical box wine.
Yeah, and
So-
it's not cheap. It's not like cheap, like what is it, Franzia or.
It is a much better tasting wine than the Franzia Red Blend.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit, I think, cheaper too.
Yeah, it's a couple bucks cheaper.
It's a little bit cheaper because it's
just
sort
not
of a
quite
generic.
as easier found. But
Yep.
if you do find it,
Definitely
give it a go.
get it.
Yep.
It's our go-to wine when we don't have a lot of money, but we want to drink wine, and that was tonight. And I actually enjoy it for a box wine. I think
too.
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I
so-
like their white blend. The rosé was the one that wasn't my favorite.
That's right, you
but
have
it's
to-
still good.
It's.
still
I mean,
good.
it's.
You gotta
Yeah.
understand what you're drinking.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't expect miracles.
This isn't 95-point wine.
Yeah.
This is.
Oh, there's a point system.
Absolutely, there's a point system. Maybe we'll talk about that in a future episode.
Yes.
And that'd be a good idea.
Can you rub her neck?
Maybe when we talk to Grease or something.
Yeah.
We'll talk the scoring of wine because it kind of falls in that same
Yeah.
respectability category.
Our poor dog. Sorry, Zika's
But,
doing her reverse sneeze. There we go.
We're gonna go ahead and get back to this evening. Today we're recording on a very, very special day for all witches and all pagans. Today is Samhain.
It's Samhain. It's
And
late
so
at night. It's almost. What time is it? It's late.
It's
11:34. We are almost at the witching hour.
We're
kind of on
almost at the witching
on
hour.
Samhain when the veil is thinnest at any
It
point
is.
during the year.
Super duper
So
thin.
we already had our ceremony for our coven this evening, and we wanted to reach out to all of our witches and wine fans, and say hello. And we figured if there's any Sabbath that is to be celebrated and shown on Witches and Wine, that it needs to be Samhain.
Yeah, we it was a very busy day today with, of course, if you know, those of us who have children, trick-or-treating, costumes, Halloween parties. Well, our kids are asleep now, so we did do a special Samhain ritual tonight, and it went really well. I think it went pretty good.
Yeah.
I was very happy with it. Right? Yeah. I hope so. We winged it. It's kind of what we do sometimes. Is just let go, let goddess, and just kind of be like, okay. But be aware that we have.
Aware.
B-E, aware. B-E-A-W-A-R-E. There's no more letters.
That is a cheer.
So, be aware that we have opened our house to welcome our ancestors. We would usually have Morrigan, our resident medium, that would speak with the dead. None of us are, I mean, I've done it before, but I'm not like a pro at it.
It's not something that I have
It's not my
honed
repertoire.
necessarily.
Yeah. So we did welcome in our ancestors. So there's a really, I don't know if you guys can feel it. It's a very
It's an active energy.
It's an active energy that's happening. So, but we will close up the circle. So we're kind of officially in an open circle, but unofficially. It's hard to explain. We kind of opened the house up to it. I have a very small house. We have a very small house, so it's like, come on in. If there's any messages that need to be received, we're open to that. So, be aware that we are dealing with those energies tonight. So, Samhain. Let's talk about Samhain. This is the time of year when the veil is the thinnest. Same with Beltane. So, in the southern hemisphere, they are celebrating Beltane tonight. But either way, it's when you can contact your ancestors and spirits, and all sorts of spooky stuff can come and visit us. Anyone who knows the history of Samhain, there's a lot Samhain and Halloween they're the same. They're just different names. Halloween,
kissing cousins.
Yes.
Very minimum.
Halloween borrowed.
Halloween's a commercialized version of Samhain.
Yes,
pretty much.
much. But there's if you look into the meanings behind what most people know as Halloween, there is always a Samhain connection to it. Like the trick-or-treaters was originally started with people leaving food out. Well, I mean, there's several concepts, but people leaving food out is the one I know to feed the spirits, so they wouldn't upset them. So
Fae, I believe, it was like the Fae could come on and they would look for people that, I don't know if they were familiar with or what, but that's where the whole costume idea came from. It's because you were trying to trick the Fae so that they wouldn't turn you into a changeling or take you over to the fairy realm. You were trying to appear as something else that wasn't you, and that's where it kind of came from. And so that costume, and it's funny because you can't narrow it down to one culture.
No. I mean,
this is many cultures.
And many
came
beliefs
together to come to be Samhain or Halloween.
Yeah, there's different, and I don't want to put a blanket statement on anything and offend anyone. But these are some of the things we've heard about. Like I've heard people would dress up in costumes also to hide from the spirits, like you say, hiding from the fate. But I also heard that people would dress up in costumes to blend in with the spirits too. Yeah. So, but either way, the costume concept came from.
Well, you don't have just the costumes with the jack-o'-lantern concept. The reason they were carved and lit was to light the way so the spirits couldn't catch you in the dark, as well as it was to frighten them off with the menacing faces on the pumpkins.
And they used to do that with
turnips.
Yeah, it was turnips.
Which, I don't know, I have made potato soup. That's one of my traditional Samhain foods. I did not make it this year, but I've done potato soup that I add turnips to. And for Samhain, I will take a turnip and cut it in half and then carve the face into. Turnips are hard as shit to carve. They're not like pumpkins are much. This is why pumpkins became the thing, because they're easier.
Gourd's much easier to work with.
Oh my god, there's so much. Turnips are a pain in the.
Tubers suck.
Yeah.
Potatoes would have been easier.
Tubers suck.
I think the only thing that would have been worse than a turnip is if people were carving rutabagas.
Oh yeah. Yeah, pass.
Oh my gosh. So there's all these different traditions from different cultures that have passed over and become a Halloween mainstream kind of.
All concepts with dealing with the departed, the spirits lingering, ways to protect yourself, but also getting to connect with them and experience their presence.
And that's a big one for witches. That this is considered the witches' New Year for a lot of
Happy
witches.
New Year!
Happy New Year! Clink and drink, clink and drink, and energetically clinker, and she will really drink it.
The LD, the long distance clink.
Energy clink, EC.
The LDC.
The long
distance clink.
Long distance clink. Sorry. Okay.
I think that gets confused with LCD.
Yeah, or LSD. LSD where?
Different episode.
Yeah, sorry. That was one episode that we did that, yeah. Anyway. Sober. Yeah, totally tober. So, anyway, so this is a one of the biggest parts of what we do is we connect with our loved ones that have passed. And I find it, we do seances and Ouija boards and all that, just ways to connect with the dead. One of the things that I really enjoy about a tradition that Samhain does is I like the dumb suppers.
Mm-hmm.
I find those really honoring, and for those that don't know what a dumb supper is, does someone want to explain it? I don't want to.
I'll let you sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, dumb supper is traditionally where you would eat a meal with everyone not speaking during the meal so that you can allow your departed loved ones who are voiceless in the other realm to communicate with what messages they have for you over that dinner.
Don't you?
Don't you put a plate out for?
You always do put a plate out for them that is to be left out as an offering and to be untouched.
Has anyone here done a dumb supper before?
I have.
I've done a
I've never
a done
supper.
dumb, and it was done.
Everything was thoroughly cooked.
It was thoroughly eaten, and we're done. So, I think I like that concept. Silence. We were talking about earlier.
It's really powerful, and I think when you can get together and just have, because it's one thing to have a dumb supper alone and just eat in silence with your departed dead, but it is another thing to be in a group and have everyone sitting in silence in the reverence in the same moment. It's different, because it also makes it harder. Because our meals are communal by nature, and you want to sit there and chit-chat and share, but taking that moment in silence is very powerful.
And why do you think they came up with that? You just kind of explained it, but there is power in silence. You can hear what's supposed to be heard.
Your mouth is shut, your ears are open.
Ears are open, yeah. which a lot of us, myself, need to do that more often. But yeah, so dumb suppers. What are some other Samhain traditions that you can think of? My mind is going.
Seances in general.
Seances are
and
a big one.
That goes beyond the, there's this sort of idea that it was all sitting around a table with candles where somebody is like, we contact the spirits of blah, blah, blah.
Their eyes roll in the back of their head.
A seance is simply creating space for those. It's very similar to a dumb supper, where it's creating space for those who have messages to be able to communicate.
It's like what we did tonight. We opened the house up to let the ancestors come in. We're saying, hey, you can come and visit with us. And of course, afterwards, it's important to close all that up, and we're going to do a salt barrier around the house, and we're going to do some smudging and make sure, because you don't want to leave. You want to make sure you let the dead know that it's time to go, because as I've always learned, the dead, the spirits, the dead, they get confused.
Well,
they'll get lost.
Let them know they're guests, not residents.
Yes, and you kind of have to guide them, right? And kind of,
This is a hotel, not an apartment.
I'm looking at Willow because she's our resident ghost hunter, so she's dealt with the spirits. So that's right.
Right. That's a good explanation.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, or no? You're sitting. She's in the recliner, just hanging out. She's hanging out. So yeah, you want to make sure that if you do have any seances, you want to make sure that you're very direct in what you're inviting, and you want to make sure after you're done, you close everything up, or not. I guess, yeah, barrier close, and be very direct with your spirits and say it's time to go. Go away.
We thank you for your time, but your time is done.
I'm sorry, she was talking.
Sorry.
It's the same way using the spirit board.
Yes.
You have to be very
Ouija
direct.
boards, yeah. You have to be direct.
Yeah, because I do that too. We were just talking about that because I brought mine down. I did sort of use it, but I brought my spirit board down because we had an event. I was bringing it down because we thought about maybe using it, and we didn't use it that night. But then my daughter was kind of asking about it, so I was like, well, here's how it works, and here's some things that people tend to say about it, and here's some of the superstitions that I do follow, because, one of them is say goodbye. Because that's like, if I pick up the phone, and I call someone and just set the phone down and walk away,
They're like,
that's rude as shit.
yeah.
I'm going to say goodbye. I say
Goodbye.
goodbye. That is one of my Ouija stations that I tend to go by.
It's respect.
I also am one of those people that don't leave the planchette on the board because, again, that's leaving
An
it
open
off the
connection.
hook. It's leaving it off the hook.
Yeah.
It's you may not have dialed into anyone, but then if I just don't see the point in leaving it on the board.
Yeah.
Just take it
You're,
off.
you're closing up
You're
all
closing-
communication.
You've hung up the receiver and you're saying
yeah.
this is done.
You've hung up the receiver. You've X'd out of the Skype call. You've done all that stuff to say conversation done.
Yes.
I'm not. There are some superstitions, like I'm not like, oh, the Ouija board has to be cut into 7 pieces and burned with salt in order to close the Ouija board down. No.
Wait, what?
I've
never heard of that. Have you heard of that?
There is.
What?
There is.
What?
I think it's the Museum of Talking Boards website has a whole page called Ouija Stations,
Mm-hmm.
and it has different superstitions that come along with Ouija boards. The history of Ouija boards is really fun anyway,
Yeah.
because they go back a little bit farther than we think, but they're not actually as ancient as we think either.
Really?
Yeah, I have heard, one of the craziest things I ever heard was that Ouija boards have to be in Sumerian in order to actually work. And I was like,
Really? That's interesting.
then explain this to all the people who've used talking boards.
Yeah.
Because Sumerian's hella long ago.
That's like, I know. I'm like that. Well, then all those scary movies are wrong. So let's talk about the messages you receive on Samhain. I know that last year our first official. It was before we hived off from People of the Woods, remember? And we decided, Children of the Crossroads, to have, it was before we had a
name, a group.
We didn't have a name, we weren't official, but we knew our group that we wanted to do. So we did a seance, and that was really powerful because I remember Morrigan, our resident medium, she said my ex-boyfriend that took his life, she didn't know anything about that, and she said, oh, he's here, blah, 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 your friend that killed himself and has been haunting you in your dreams, and I'm like, what? Yeah, so they come forward if they need to have a message, and I think he came forward because I needed to tell him, and he needed to tell me that everything's okay, because I felt like we ended things badly, and I felt like he was haunting me in my dreams. So there's wonderful messages, and that's what I get excited about this time of year.
But it's also important to consider, because this came about with the Ouija stations, is do spirits lie?
Could they be disguising themselves as
Yes.
someone else?
Do people lie?
Of course.
Well, people
Yes.
lie, so
People
spirits
So
lie.
spirits will, because
But
they haven't.
Also,
They haven't.
demonically,
Oh,
they
yeah.
lie.
There could be,
So
a
can you
demonic
tell
possession or
Can you tell the difference?
You got to know the signs.
Okay.
You know, because if it's somebody you know, and little differences you know they would not do, but they do it, or they say something.
Yeah.
It's like, so.
And-
When Granny is like, now, honey, you just go fuck off, dear.
Yeah, and that would never
That's
be the way.
probably not actually your granny.
Well, it depends on who your granny is.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
But if your granny is normally like, oh, honey, come have some cookies. You're too thin. Eat.
Yeah, that might be granny.
Why does
Right.
it always have to be the Jewish grandmother? Jewish or Italian?
I know.
Eat, you're too thin.
Or Mexican. Eat. Okay,
and
just
children, you
yeah.
don't be aware of children
so why is that?
because it's innocence and you tend to fall for it.
So like if you had a child that passed and their spirit comes, or
Or
the
Any
child.
spirit that claims to be a child.
Because evil can take the presence of a child because of you thinking of its innocence. Oh, it's a child. The child is trying to come through. You know.
Yeah.
Or blah blah blah. It
So, and this is interesting that you bring this up because I have a 10-year-old who, he's very much in touch with the spirits and whatnot, and he's really good at identifying. I think because he hasn't been cluttered or
Suppressed.
or even tainted with societal expectations, that he's so innocent about it that he can tell right off if it's a good spirit or a bad spirit, whatever you want to talk. He can tell right away, more so than I can.
Benevolent or malevolent?
Yeah, benevolent or malevolent.
Well, you watched that movie.
Malevolent. Oh my God! Seriously, I can't. Malevolent.
Yay!
Stay, clink and drink.
Congratulations.
Lola speaks English sometimes. Clink and drink.
Not as often.
Oh, empty clink and drink.
But
Drink your air.
because as you work with it, your spidey senses will,
Spidey senses. I
Well,
love that.
tingle.
Yeah, yeah.
You will know.
Yeah, well, like you and Aurora, or you and Morrigan, sorry, you work a lot with that kind of energy, so you guys can tell right away. Mine started to really happen when I started hanging out with the Spooky Twins. We call Willow and Morrigan the Spooky Twins because we were in a previous coven together, and I would sit with them and I would watch them have conversations without ever opening their fucking mouths, and they'd be like, yeah, and they'd point and nod and go, I felt it, or just really quick sentences like, I felt that too, and he said, yeah,
Yep.
and I'm going, what is, oh my God, and
We feed off of each
they,
other's
yes, they do.
energy. And I have a way of giving power to be,
Yeah.
energy to people who need it.
Yeah,
So I can amp her up.
yeah.
You almost sort of like Copper in that sense, is that you're an amplifier.
She's Copper.
I'm a gnome.
She's
I work with
you're
elephants.
yeah. She's our Copper gnome instead of Copper. I
Ow.
was thinking of that. Never mind. Just ignore me. Yeah, no, it's true, and so I didn't start having my any of that happen until, to be honest, till sophomore year at the seminary when we did chakra and we got to the third eye.
I was gonna say third eye.
Yeah, and I started really working with my third eye, and all of a sudden, I swear to you, I started, and I'm not familiar with it, and I started hearing things like almost like a radio frequency. And do you remember that night I was laying on the couch here and you were sitting here, and I sat up and I said, someone needs to turn this off. Do you remember that? Because it was like someone turned a radio station that kind of came in faintly, and I just heard all these like mumbled voices, and I heard a child every once in a while.
Like when you're I'll be like in a half asleep,
Yeah.
and you hear people outside talking, and
Yes.
all the voices sound just a little bit, not quite distorted, they're just faint, they're not quite coming in right. That's how I would...
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a radio, it's not white noise,
But
you can't quite
make
out what
it
they're
out.
saying.
And it really bothered me, and I was like, oh my God, how do I shut this off? Because it was right after my third eye just went, opened up, and so, people, you can do it. Like, I know people that are like, no, I really can't. It is a third eye thing. It is, mine just opened up, and now, and that was just a couple years ago. So I'm honing it. I'm working with it. I don't ever tell anyone right off the bat that, oh, I'll speak to your loved ones. But if something comes to me, I'll be like, okay, I need to pay attention to that. So, so what are some other things that Samhain? What are some of the other fun things that are favorite things about this time of year that you guys like? Is there something you guys, any traditions that you have, or anything that you do besides, taking the kids trick or treating?
I like the changing of the true changing of the season, where we're going into the short part of the year, the short days.
Short days, long nights.
Oh, yeah, and what I enjoy about it is it's time to do comfort foods and comfort activities and comfort clothing, where we get to layer up. We get to, this is the snuggle time. This is where we get our blankets. This is where we build the fires.
Make the stews
It starts to be the
make
time
the
for
breads.
introspection.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's working internally and in not even just in your own stuff, but like you start to putter around and work on the things inside your house.
Yeah.
Whereas over the summertime, you're working outside your house. You might be working in your garden. You're trying to work on things to reap. And Samhain marks the last of that. It's the final harvest.
Yep. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a good one.
So the final harvest, anything, it used to be said that anything that was left on the vine after Samhain, it was for the fairies.
Yeah.
It was not fit for human consumption anymore. It's
left outside. You leave it out. Yeah. Yeah.
If you haven't brought it in, it's just gone.
Yeah.
So.
And what does Samhain mean? It's Gaelic, isn't it? Or it's
it was a Celtic. It's one of the Celtic, because the Wheel of the Year as we know it in modern Wicca, in most modern paganism. I know there are some pagan traditions that don't follow the Wheel of the Year, but a lot of them have adopted it because it does work. But it's like this amalgamation between Celtic and Germanic with a few extra things thrown in for fun.
Now, I heard Samhain means literally bring your pigs in.
Samhain.
Samhain, that's what someone said that to me the other day. Samhain, bring your pigs in.
I would be optimistically skeptical.
I know, but I thought it was kind of funny.
For those that know, Samhain, it does not look like Samhain. It looks like Samhain. Samhain.
Yes.
And if you watch
Dear TV, if you would just figure this out. Thank you, Google.
Well, and also this is my favorite time of year because all the scary movies come on, and one of my favorites is Halloween, and there's a scene in Halloween, the original, where Dr. Loomis, Michael Myers' psychiatrist, they go to this school that Michael Myers wrote in blood. He wrote Samhain. And Dr. Loomis goes, they're like, what does that mean? And he goes, Samhain. and he's all like, so like know-it-all about it. Samhain.
They do it in
Devil's Night. And I'm like,
in True Blood when they have the same actress. I cannot remember who her name is, but they have the Witchy series in True Blood, and it's the same actress that plays Petunia in Harry Potter. So then she's actually playing a witch, and she's like, on our great holiday of Samhain.
I know, and I'm just like, oh please,
and they did it. Sabrina did it too.
Samhain, yes.
Samhain.
Yeah.
It's a great holiday of mispronunciation.
It's cultural mispronunciation.
But you know what though? Come on, it's spelled Samhain. Samhain.
When I first saw it, I was like, what the heck is that? I've never heard of that one. And you told me, and I was like,
how did you get Samhain from? Yeah.
In next week, we're going to talk about all the different pronunciations of witchy words. Is it Deasil or Jessel?
Is it
question?
Athame or Athame? Or Athame? Athame.
Buckland or Phyllis Curot.
Yeah.
Hecate
or Heket or Hecat or Heket. Yeah.
Hecate.
Yeah. I say Hecate.
Yeah.
But some people say Hecate. Tomato. You say potato. I say Hecate. So, and I do it like this. What is this? I keep doing this.
I know. What's up, body dancer?
Shimmy,
shimmy, cocoa pop. So anyway, so we're coming up on 30 minutes. Does anyone have anything they want to add that I may have forgotten? Or
nope. We just want to wish you all a happy Samhain and take care of yourself through this time of the year.
Well, don't close yet. Does anyone want to say anything?
I am going to add in...
Read the room. Read the room.
To make it on a little bit of a more somber note, because it is Samhain, and on the 28th, I think I might be one of the few here who knows Tiptoe Chick has passed away from a car accident on the 28th. I don't think the pagan YouTube community would be what it is without Tiptoe Chick, aka Dolores Chapman. She's a bright light that was taken too soon from our community. I didn't get to meet her in person, but I knew her through videos when she was more active on YouTube. and through her Facebook, and I know it's been a couple of years that she kind of withdrawn a little bit from the community, but she still made such an impact
Yeah.
on the pagan YouTube community that I wanted to just put that out there.
And thank you for doing that, because there are people, is there anyone that any of us want to, people who have recently passed or passed a long time ago? Does anyone, well, let's make a toast to Tiptoe Chick.
Tiptoe
To
Chick.
Tiptoe Chick. Thank you for your inspiration and influence on YouTube. And maybe some people don't think that's a big deal, but that's a huge deal, because we're in the era of this. We're doing it now.
It affected, I was doing Crafts Corner on Second Life, and we had someone pop in and was like, oh my god, did you guys hear? And I got to be like, yeah, I did, and that's really, really sad.
Yeah.
So it's not something that is as insular as we might think it might be. It really is everywhere. I've gone to different blogs and different things, and they've just been like, we're missing a huge, here's a big influence on
a
the
pioneer
community.
of YouTube, a pagan YouTube. Oh my God! What am I thinking?
An initial voice.
Yes.
A trendsetter.
Yeah. And now I'm gonna have to go check her stuff out, and yeah. So, to her, is there someone you would like to make an ancestral, or someone who's passed recently?
I want to say we're here for our coven mate Morgan. Her mother is experiencing medical health issues.
Major
to
ones.
Where she may be experiencing the last of her time with us, and so we want to help her in any way we can, both her and her mother. If it's time for her to pass, to help her pass, and make it as easy as possible. And that we love you and we're here for you. And if you need us, reach out to us and we'll help you with your mom.
Yeah, just to her passing and an easy transition. You can pour some more.
I need a little more.
Do you need more, or are you okay? Okay. I just that's what she said. I want to make a ancestral toast to my grandmothers. I did not know them for too long. My grandmother Ruth on my dad's side, I only knew till I was 8 years old. But the memories I have of her, she was my biggest advocate. She always stuck up for me. She loved me so much. And those memories I have of her were very special, and I wish that, I always say I wish she could see me now, but I think she can, and I hope she's proud of me. And then my grandmother Eva on my mother's side, who passed away when I was in my early 20s, and I only met her, she lived in New Mexico, and I only met her maybe 3 times in my life, but we had correspondence with each other, and I found out as a late teen, early 20s, how much we had in common. And then my mother and anyone in that family would always say, I look like her, I act like her. And apparently the word bruja was used very much, which in the Mexican tradition is witch. And are you looking at the time? Yeah, and so my mother said that word was used a couple times explaining my grandmother, and just stories I've heard about her. So now I understand where I get it from. So to my grandma Ruth and my grandma Eva, I love you, and I hope you're proud of me.
Well.
And you, Willow, would you like to? You're good? You don't want to cry? No. Okay. So, well, thank you for joining us for this special Samhain episode. Remember, if you would like to be a guest or have any questions, you can email us at, please, you guys say it.
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
Say it again.
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
Thank you.
One of these years, months, decades, Lola will get it at least once on her own.
It'll probably be down there in a
Yeah.
link.
Yeah.
Down there.
Someday when we get high tech, we'll post it down there. So remember to always be kind to one another, walk with the goddess, and until next time, blessed be. Happy Samhain, clink and drink to all the ancestors.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
All the ancestors of the past, we love you. We
love
miss you. We honor you.
We honor you. Thank you. Good night. And I'm turning this off.